What is one common belief about health that you believe people should question or rethink? What do you think is a common belief about health that people should rethink or recalibrate on? Sora, why don't we start with you this time?
Well, you came to the right person because I think people ought to rethink dieting. You know, because diets don't work. And I came up with a simple reason why. And then I came up with a program that lets you eat and stop. Because what I observed, I couldn't eat and stop. I used to diet, take off the weight, put it back on, and I didn't understand why. And one day I taught really tough kids in an inner city school. And one day I looked at them and I said, how come, Sora, these kids who walk, talk, and do all those other things listen to you, but food has no animate qualities? You can't stop thinking about it, and you cannot stop eating or thinking about food. So I got an idea that day to stop dieting and journal every intake. I was obsessive about it. I journaled every thought prior, during, and after every intake. But I got to see the problem. And I lost all my weight, which I've kept off for decades. And I was able to create a program to help people eat and stop. And it was the same way that I taught the kids who sat in front of me to learn how to self-regulate. So I taught myself how to self-regulate with food, just like I taught my kids how to self-regulate with themselves in my classroom. So
So
basically,
what was the problem that you saw? You said I saw the problem. What was it?
oh, well, it's interesting. In a way, it's what Dr. Sorensen said, in a way. But then I found the answer to managing what she said. So she said, and she's right, and it's in my book. It's the difference between the mindset of a person without a weight problem and the mindset of a person with a weight problem. A person without a weight problem doesn't think about, just thinks about food, can say no to it, can eat and stop. Oh, I think I'll have half this piece of rye bread, and they put the other half back in the bag. The person with a weight problem thinks more about food a day than a person without a weight problem. So
Hmm.
this person cannot put his hand in a bag of Oreos and say, I'm just going to have three and put the bag away.
Okay.
So, so the thing that Dr. Sorensen said that I can so relate to is that the truth is anyone with a weight problem, according to my program, is starving to death. Now, the interesting thing is you don't think you're starving to death because you're eating all the time. But the truth is it's because you're eating all the time, nothing is enough. And that's why you can't eat and stop yourself. So I developed these two techniques that let you always identify how much is enough before you put the food in your mouth, so that in the act of bringing the food to your mouth to chew, you are able to eat and stop yourself. And you know what that does? It gives you huge power over the food, and it lets you consciously minimize the number of times a day you're going to think about food. Because once you see that you can always give yourself enough food and you're not starving to death, you're going to eat less.
Yes. Now, out of desperation. Very good. Michael, what is a common belief about health that you believe people should question or rethink?
Okay, I think most people or many people should have a better perspective on their relationship with their doctor, actually, and with the health system itself. So I'd like to bring nuance into this because I think it's, more and more people are swinging like a pendulum completely against doctors and conventional health and things like that. And I think that really lacks discernment. We need to recognise the great value in a lot of modern medicine. But at the same time, we have this issue of iatrogenesis and stacking of studies by big pharma and the education of doctors as well. And eminent people have spoken about this. It's not, my perspective really counts for nothing, but the editor-in-chief of the New England Medical Journal, Marcia Angel, and the editor-in-chief of the British Medical Journal have also, spoken about this issue as being a very significant problem. And I think that's another one of these potentially very dangerous sort of intellectual boxes that people end up in, because, when they're saying that, as many as half the medical studies may be, completely false, actually, then we've got a very significant problem in the medical system. And I'm seeing more and more people who are on, 6, 8, 10 18 or 20 different drugs, and we know that they've never been tested together before. And I think that almost becomes like an addiction as well, where we should be consciously, very aware of the risks of things like that, and really seeking something which is more empowering, which is about learning about, diets and supplements and exercise and other things that we can do for ourselves. So I think that's quite a significant sort of limiting factor, and it's something that needs a degree of discernment in terms of observation, not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because when you need it, there's absolutely nothing to beat modern trauma medicine, for example.
Perfect. Dr. Annika.
Yes, I actually have two common beliefs, things that are beliefs, and they are more on a general level. I think that one of the things that people believe that they should rethink is that they say, I'm so young, it doesn't matter, but it does. And the arrangement of our bodies start when we stop growing around in the 20s. I mean, some things start even earlier, but in general, you can say that if you start taking care of your health in a healthy way when you're 20, then you're going to have the best out of your life from that perspective. So that means that the age matters. Somebody else before, I don't remember who it was, talked about when people think that I don't have to start to care for my health until I'm 40, 50 or 60. But that's not true. If you really want to have a healthy, long life, the best is to start from the beginning, actually. If you can give your kids a good, healthy upbringing, that would be the perfect.
When did this? Okay, go ahead.
The second thing that I thought of when I saw this question was that people say, I have bad genes. My family have always had this, whatever it is, and I will too. So it doesn't matter what I do. This is my destiny. I don't have to care. So I'm just going to live on as always because it doesn't matter. And absolutely, genes do matter to some extent, different depending on what illness we're talking about. But if you always do the best you can with your health, you can get the best out of your life and change the trajectory for some, depending on what it is, of course. But you can change the result by taking good care of yourself, even if your family has whatever it is. Those are two things that I have seen over the years that people say.
When did you start paying attention? Was it in your 20s, 30s? When did you do that? When did you start realizing it?
I think that I was around. I had a very traumatic thing happening when I was 34, and I think that's when I really realized what life is about.
Okay.
That
so it
woke
was an
me
event
up.
that happened. Okay.